On your spiritual journey, God has entrusted you with unique revelations, truths so profound that they were meant only for you. These are not ordinary insights or simple ideas, they are divine secrets designed specifically to guide and protect you in ways that you may not fully comprehend yet. But here's the warning: if you share these sacred truths carelessly with the wrong people, the foundation of what God has prepared for you could be shaken. Let this sink in. If you've ever felt like there's a deeper spiritual truth at play, like unseen forces were working against you, like the opportunities you thought were secure suddenly vanished, or relationships you trusted became sources of harm, these aren't random occurrences. This is not just a matter of bad luck. There's a spiritual principle in play here that you need to understand. You've been given divine favor, a favor that many people envy but few can understand. This favor isn't just about being chosen, it's also about knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. The stakes are high, my friend, because the wisdom you gain here doesn't just shape your life, it protects the very essence of who God created you to be. It shields your purpose and secures your destiny. This is sacred knowledge, and it is meant to be guarded carefully. Now listen closely, because what I'm about to share may forever change the way you approach your spiritual journey. You see, the secret is not just about what you do or say, it's about what you keep within. It's about knowing when to guard the sacred confidences God has placed in your heart. These are not just pieces of information, they are divine treasures meant to guide and protect you. But what if, just what if, the very thing you're sharing is the one thing that's meant to remain hidden? What if your silence could be your greatest shield? As we step into this revelation together, prepare to see your path in a new light. This message is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who are ready to take hold of their calling with wisdom and intention. This is the kind of truth that transforms lives. Once you grasp it, there's no turning back. Think about it. Have you ever experienced the crushing disappointment of revealing a cherished plan, a dream close to your heart, only to see it unravel shortly after? If so, this is not just coincidence. This is the divine power of spiritual secrets at work. When the chosen ones share more than they should, when they unveil what is sacred to them before the right time, an unseen shift occurs, a shift that can derail what God has so carefully prepared. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect. Sometimes the greatest protection you have is what you choose to keep hidden. Silence at the right moments can be more powerful than words. Trust that the divine secrets you carry within you are there for a reason. It's not just about what you say, it's about what you choose not to reveal. So as you continue on your journey, my advice to you is simple but profound: guard your revelations. Don't let the desire to share or to be understood push you to reveal too much. There is power in silence. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet. Your spiritual growth depends on it, and so does the protection of your divine purpose. This is your divine truth, your shield, your guide. Keep it sacred. And as you do, you will see your path open before you with the divine favor that has been waiting for you all along. Stay vigilant, stay grounded, and trust in the power of what you've been entrusted with. Your journey is unfolding as it should. Guard it carefully. When spiritual secrets or divine revelations are exposed too soon, they can be misunderstood, misjudged, or even weaponized against you. Silence, contrary to what many might think, is not a sign of weakness, it's a profound display of wisdom. When God imparts something deeply personal to you, He is entrusting you with a fragment of His divine plan, something intricate and precious. Yet this plan is often incomprehensible to others. It's like placing a rare, priceless jewel into the hands of someone who doesn't recognize its worth. What happens to that jewel? It risks being neglected, tarnished, or even stolen. We can see this in the biblical story of Joseph. In Genesis 37, Joseph, filled with the dream of greatness, shared his vision with his brothers. Instead of celebrating his potential, they responded with envy and hostility, ultimately selling him into slavery. Though God used this situation for greater good, Joseph's premature revelation triggered unnecessary trials. Could his journey have been less difficult if he had kept those dreams close to his heart, nurturing them privately until the right time? How often do we, like Joseph, invite hardships by revealing our dreams or spiritual insights too soon? Spiritual secrets, like divine revelations, hold immense power. But they can only wield that power when kept secure within your heart, nurtured through your personal, intimate relationship with God. If you've ever shared a deeply personal goal or spiritual insight, only to be met with doubt, envy, or even scorn, you know how hurtful that can be. More than just painful, these reactions release an energy that can obstruct your progress and interfere with God's timing in your life. The truth is, not everyone around you is equipped to understand or honor what God has entrusted to you. These sacred revelations are tailored to your unique calling, written exclusively for you in a divine script that others may not have the capacity to comprehend. When you share these treasures with the wrong people, you're essentially unlocking a door to negative forces that can disrupt your path. Your dreams and plans are like delicate seeds, planted by God within the fertile soil of your heart. Just as a seed requires quiet, undisturbed conditions to sprout and flourish, so do your spiritual secrets. Imagine exposing a fragile seed to harsh winds or storms before it has taken root. It risks being destroyed before its potential can even be realized. Have you ever shared a dream or vision that wasn't fully developed, only to see it falter? How might God be calling you to guard your sacred treasures with more wisdom and care? In Proverbs 4:23, we are reminded, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your heart is the sacred chamber where God places His promises and visions. Protecting those treasures doesn't mean distrusting others, it means honoring God's timing and wisdom. Even Jesus, in Matthew 7:6, told His disciples not to cast their pearls before swine, implying that we should exercise discernment with the sacred and valuable things we hold. If we reveal too much of what is precious to us too soon, it's like exposing a tender seed to the elements before it has the chance to grow. The beauty of your journey, the value of your purpose, may be invisible to many around you, some because they lack understanding, and others perhaps out of jealousy or malice. But not everyone is equipped to handle or comprehend the divine gifts God has placed within you. This is why God calls us to exercise caution in what we reveal. We must ensure that His divine plan for our lives unfolds without unnecessary disruption. As one of God's chosen ones, you carry a profound spiritual weight, a calling so deep and powerful that not everyone can comprehend it, nor is everyone capable of handling it. That's why sharing too much can create spiritual gaps, leaving you open to unnecessary battles and opposition. Think of your spiritual secrets as your armor, carefully designed by God to protect you. When you expose too much of this armor, you create openings for the enemy to attack, weakening your defenses. This is why in Ephesians 6:11, the Apostle Paul urges us to put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Guarding your divine revelations is part of putting on that armor, ensuring your protection as you move forward on your path. Personal reflection and advice: if you are feeling called to share your journey or spiritual experiences, make sure you are doing so with wisdom. Not everyone needs to know every detail, and not every revelation is meant for public consumption. Protect your heart, protect your path, and protect the sacred things God has entrusted to you. The time will come when those revelations can be shared, but trust that there is divine timing at play. Guard your spiritual treasures as you would a priceless gem. You know when to speak, and when to remain silent, for in silence there is strength. By doing so, you'll protect your purpose, your peace, and your divine calling. The armor of God, as described in Ephesians 6:11, is not just a tool for battle, it is a shield that protects the sacred truths and divine callings God has entrusted to you. This armor serves a higher purpose to shield the purity and power of what God has placed within your heart, especially when those truths are still in the process of being nurtured. Why, then, would we ever lower that shield by revealing too much too soon, especially to those who may not appreciate, cherish, or respect the significance of the divine secrets entrusted to us? Your mission on this earth is unlike anyone else's. The path God has laid out for you is unique, as are the spiritual truths and callings He has given you. These are not just ordinary revelations, they are sacred and specific to your journey. Have you ever experienced a moment where sharing a deeply personal goal or vision seemed to trigger a series of unexpected obstacles? For instance, imagine telling a friend about a business idea, only to find that suddenly you face unexplained resistance or barriers that seem to appear out of nowhere. Or perhaps you've shared a cherished dream with a family member and felt a sudden wave of disbelief or negativity that drained your motivation, leaving you feeling disheartened and confused. These are not random occurrences. They are manifestations of a spiritual reality. What is sacred carries divine power, and exposing it to unprepared or unkind hearts can compromise its potential to flourish. In Matthew 7 verse 6, Jesus warned His followers, "Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces." This powerful warning invites us to exercise discernment in who we reveal our divine revelations to. What God has given you is holy, a pearl of great value, and sharing it with those who lack the capacity to honor its worth can be not only risky but also detrimental to your mission. Think about it. How often have you seen dreams thrive only when nurtured in silence, shielded from the judgment or doubt of others? God's wisdom frequently comes to us through His still small voice, guiding us to guard our sacred truths until the right time. When we choose to protect these divine revelations, we create the space for God to work in the background, shielding us from unnecessary interference and strengthening our spiritual journey. God, in His infinite wisdom, chooses to reveal His truths to us in deeply personal ways. These revelations often come during moments of stillness, in heartfelt prayer, or in the quiet assurance of His presence. These divine messages are meant to guide and strengthen us, but they are also entrusted to us with the expectation of confidentiality. When we share these sacred insights with someone who is not aligned with our spiritual journey, we risk losing the connection to that insight, or worse, doubting the truth of the message itself. This is why not every spiritual revelation is meant to be spoken aloud. Discerning when to share and when to remain silent is an essential skill that comes through a close, prayerful relationship with God. Take, for example, the way God communicated with the prophet Elijah in 1 Kings 19 verse 11 to 12. Elijah expected to hear God's voice in a powerful wind, an earthquake, or a fire. But instead, God spoke to him in a gentle whisper. This quiet, subtle communication reflects how God often works. He entrusts His servants with messages that are soft but powerful. Imagine if Elijah had misunderstood this moment, or worse yet, shared it prematurely with someone who couldn't grasp its significance. Would it have diminished the impact of the revelation, and perhaps caused doubt or confusion to take root? Before sharing a divine insight or revelation, ask yourself, will this person understand or honor what I am about to share? If your heart hesitates, it might be a sign to keep it to yourself. Not everyone possesses the spiritual maturity or understanding to appreciate the depth of what God has revealed to you. Silence in this context is not about fear or insecurity. It is an act of reverence, an acknowledgement of the sacredness of what God has entrusted to you. By choosing to protect these spiritual truths, you show respect for their divine origin and safeguard their purpose. Keeping a spiritual secret is not an act of fear, it is one of profound faith. It demonstrates your trust in God's timing and plan, and your willingness to wait for His perfect moment for everything to unfold. This is not about seeking validation from others, rather, it is about honoring the quiet work God is doing in your life. Just as a delicate seed must be protected from harsh elements until it is strong enough to grow, your spiritual revelations need the same care and protection. Imagine treating your dreams and plans like treasures that require safekeeping. By protecting them, keeping them close to your heart, you are allowing God to do His work without interference. This act of guarding your spiritual secrets is an expression of trust. It's a way of saying, I trust that God's timing is perfect, and I trust that He will reveal this at the right time, to the right people. Think of this process as building a fortified wall around your most precious truths. God's armor, when worn properly, protects your calling and purpose. By choosing silence, you reinforce that armor, ensuring that no unwanted forces can infiltrate your divine path. And when the right time comes, when God sees fit, He will lead you to the people who will honor and respect the sacredness of what He has revealed to you. Personal reflection and advice: if you are in a season of waiting or silence, remember that this is not wasted time. You are being shielded, refined, and prepared for something greater. Trust that God's plan for your life is unfolding in perfect timing, and honor the sacredness of the revelations He has shared with you. Protect them, nurture them, and allow God to guide you in His perfect way. Silence is not weakness, but strength, and by keeping these divine treasures close to your heart, you are ensuring that they will bloom in their own time, without hindrance or interference. Stay patient, stay faithful, and know that in God's perfect timing, everything will be revealed exactly as it should be. The treasures God has placed in your soul are not merely gifts, but divine keys to your purpose, each one carefully planted within you to fulfill the unique calling He has set before you. Much like Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem to protect the sacred, you too are called to safeguard the divine purpose planted in your heart. In Nehemiah 2 verses 17 to 18, we see how his careful stewardship allowed the work to thrive. But have you ever thought that guarding a spiritual secret could be an act of obedience to God? When we choose silence, we create a sacred space where God's plans can flourish without interference. Consider the steps you can take today to better discern what should remain between you and God. When you honor His revelations with quiet faith, you align yourself with His wisdom, allowing His perfect timing to unfold. Protecting your spiritual secrets is not just an act of preservation, it is an expression of deep reverence for the trust God has placed in you. You demonstrate self-respect and honor the unique journey He has designed just for you. This quiet protection frees you from unnecessary distractions and interference, keeping your focus on your divine purpose. Your spiritual secret is not just a gift, it is your shield. It is your greatest protection, and by safeguarding it and treating it with reverence, you open the door for God to lead you to unimaginable blessings. We often look outward for protection, relying on the advice of friends or human strategies, but for God's chosen ones, the most powerful form of protection lies within the divine secret He has entrusted to you. It is a sacred key, known only to you and God, a reflection of your spiritual identity and purpose. Why, then, would you risk exposing this treasure to the world? Just as Jesus withdrew to solitary places to pray and protect His communion with the Father, Luke 5 verse 16, so must we cultivate silence and discretion to protect the sacred things of God. Silence in this sense is not about hiding or retreating in fear. It is about recognizing the value of what you carry and safeguarding it from forces that might seek to diminish or derail it. Have you ever noticed how silence can disarm negativity and strengthen resolve? It is a powerful weapon that shields what is precious without confrontation. Proverbs 21 verse 23 reminds us, "Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble." This wisdom highlights the importance of choosing our words carefully, especially when it comes to divine secrets. Your spiritual secret is more than just information, it is a divine strategy, specifically tailored to your journey, and it carries the weight of God's purpose for your life. By keeping it guarded, you align yourself with God's protection and His plan. What steps can you take today to honor the trust God has placed in you? Could it be that silence in this season is the key to unlocking your next breakthrough? Trust in the sacredness of the secret and in God's promise to guide you to places beyond your imagination. There are moments when we encounter people who seem overly curious about our lives, asking probing questions or offering unsolicited opinions. While some may appear well-meaning, their intentions are not always pure. This is why silence becomes more than just a habit, it becomes a divine strategy, a shield of wisdom that protects you from harmful energies and unwarranted criticism. The Bible's timeless wisdom teaches us the power of silence. Proverbs 17 verse 28 says, "Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues." For the chosen ones, silence is not just about self-preservation, it is an essential aspect of spiritual discernment and protection. Picture your heart as a sacred safe designed by God to hold the precious secrets He has entrusted to you, like any safe. It can only be opened with the correct combination. The divine treasures within dreams, revelations, spiritual insights are meant to be safeguarded. But have you ever wondered who truly has access to this sacred space? Are those around you aligned with God's plan for your life? If not, it may be time to reassess your boundaries and be mindful of how much of your inner world you share. Not all knowledge is meant to be shared. Discernment is key. Jesus, in His wisdom, chose to reveal His teachings in parables to the crowds, reserving the deeper truths for His disciples, those He knew could understand and carry His message forward. In Matthew 13 verse 11 He explained, "The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Even divine wisdom requires careful consideration of the audience." Silence also allows God to work in the unseen, weaving together the threads of your journey without unnecessary interference. So as you continue on your spiritual path, remember silence is not just a protective shield but a powerful tool of discernment. Guard the divine secrets God has entrusted to you, not out of fear, but in obedience to His perfect timing. Let silence be your strength, and trust that God's plans for you are unfolding just as they should. As you keep these treasures close to your heart, you will find that God is doing a work in the background, one that will lead you to blessings and opportunities beyond anything you could have imagined. When we speak too freely, we often open the door to unnecessary complications and opposition. Have you ever shared something deeply personal, only to regret it later because of the reaction you received? Perhaps you were met with judgment, misunderstanding, or even betrayal. These experiences are reminders that silence is not merely an absence of words, it is a powerful tool for protection and wisdom. By keeping sacred matters between you and God, you create a safe space for His plans to unfold undisturbed. Pause and ask yourself, who are the people I allow close to my heart? Do they uplift me and align with God's purpose for my life, or do they sow seeds of doubt and distraction? Not everyone needs to know every move you make or hear every revelation God has entrusted to you. Trusting in the value of discretion is not about shutting others out, it is about honoring the sacred relationship you have with God and ensuring His treasures are preserved for the right time and the right audience. Silence, when chosen wisely, can become one of your most powerful allies. As God's chosen ones, one of the greatest spiritual challenges we face is learning to discern what should remain hidden and what can be shared. Before you speak, take a moment to reflect, does what I am about to say glorify God, or is it driven by my own ego? If it honors God and serves His purpose, share it boldly. However, if it stems from pride or reveals a vulnerability that could be exploited, it may be wiser to keep it between you and God.
The Bible often reminds us of the power and consequences of our words. Proverbs 18 verse 21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death." This solemn reminder speaks to the immense influence our words have on our lives and on the spiritual battles we face. When we reveal too much, we may unintentionally invite envy, negativity, or opposition into our lives. These external forces can create unnecessary distractions, weaken our faith, and slow down our spiritual journey.
Have you ever noticed how quickly a moment of joy or inspiration can shift once shared with the wrong person? This is no coincidence. Not everyone around you has your best interests at heart, and not everyone is spiritually mature enough to handle the weight of your calling. This is why discerning who you share your spiritual secrets with is vital. Consider your secrets as treasures of immeasurable value. Guard them as you would the most precious jewels. The less you reveal, the less room there is for spiritual attacks. Silence, in many cases, is not merely a sign of wisdom, it becomes an invisible shield that protects you from harm. In Psalm 141 verse 3, David prayed, "Set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the door of my lips." This prayer reflects the importance of divine discernment and restraint in speech, especially for those entrusted with sacred purposes. The people you surround yourself with play a pivotal role in your spiritual journey. Some individuals will uplift and inspire you, encouraging your growth in faith and purpose, while others may subtly sow seeds of doubt and fear. Have you taken the time to examine the people within your inner circle? Are they aligned with your spiritual vision, or do they subtly pull you away from God's plan for your life? Surrounding yourself with those who share your values and understand the weight of your calling strengthens your ability to protect your purpose. In moments when we might be tempted to speak freely, we need to remember that our words are not just expressions of thought, they are the seeds of our future. Just as you would protect a garden from weeds and pests, so too must you guard your words from those who might sow negativity or opposition. Silence isn't just an absence of noise, it is a deliberate and intentional act of protecting what God has entrusted to you. Reflect on this. When we guard our hearts and our words, we allow God's plan to unfold in His perfect timing, without unnecessary interference. Sometimes the most powerful act of faith is not speaking out loud, but trusting that God is working in the quiet, in the unseen, and in the silence. So as you move forward, consider what you're sharing and with whom. Make silence your ally in guarding the treasures that God has placed in your heart. Silence may very well be the key to unlocking your next breakthrough, as it keeps your spirit protected and your purpose intact. Sacred trust is a powerful currency, one that not everyone is equipped to handle. The divine revelations and calling you carry are precious, and only those who truly value and respect your purpose can be trusted to hear even fragments of these sacred truths. Think about Mary, the mother of Jesus, who treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Luke 2 verse 19. She understood the importance of keeping sacred revelations close, preserving them in silence until the time was right. Imagine the peace and clarity that would come from guarding your own spiritual treasures with the same wisdom and discretion. This approach allows you to align yourself with people who inspire your growth and encourage your walk with God. By doing so, you build a fortress of faith around the divine secrets entrusted to you, ensuring that your mission remains undisturbed and that God's plans can unfold without interference. Silence, in this context, is not a weakness but a protective shield, guarding the sacred calling and purpose placed in your heart. One of the most powerful ways to protect your spiritual secrets is by entrusting them to God through prayer. There is no safer place for your hopes, fears, and dreams than the presence of the Almighty. When you bring these matters before God, not only do you safeguard them, but you also open yourself to divine guidance. Through prayer, you gain the discernment needed to understand when, how, and with whom to share your revelations. The Holy Spirit becomes your faithful counselor, guiding you in the moments to speak and the moments to remain silent. Consider a time when you received a profound vision or began a significant project that felt divinely inspired. The excitement to share it with others might have been overwhelming, but wisdom often urges us to pause before speaking. Are the people around you equipped to understand and support what God has shown you? Prematurely sharing your vision can expose it to criticism, doubt, and even opposition, which can derail your focus and weaken your resolve. Jesus himself exemplified the importance of discretion. In Matthew 6 verse 6 he said, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." This verse underscores the value of working in secret, trusting that God will reveal the fruits of your efforts in His perfect timing. Silence in these moments is not a sign of fear, it is a strategic act of faith. When Nehemiah set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he kept his plans private until the right moment. Nehemiah 2 verse 12. He said, "I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem." By keeping his plans secret, Nehemiah avoided unnecessary opposition and was able to carry out God's mission effectively. Similarly, When you choose to hold your spiritual secrets close, you shield them from the doubts and negativity of those who may not share your faith or vision. Think back to a time when you faced criticism or skepticism that weakened your resolve. Can you imagine how much peace and focus you could maintain if you allowed your plans to grow quietly under God's protection? By keeping them hidden until the right time, you align yourself with God's wisdom and His perfect timing. This is not about hiding out of fear, but about honoring the sacred process of preparation. As God has promised, what is done in secret will be rewarded openly. Trusting in this divine principle allows you to focus on the work God has given you without distraction. Consider areas in your life where silence could be the key to progress. When you surrender your plans to God in prayer and trust in His timing, you not only protect your spiritual secrets but also position yourself to receive the rewards that only He can provide. As a chosen one, recognize that the secret God has placed within you is not only your greatest shield but also a profound symbol of your dedication to His divine purpose. This secret is more than protection against the adversary, it is a sacred testament to your faith and obedience. By keeping this secret hidden, you demonstrate trust in God's perfect timing, knowing He will reveal His work in your life when the moment is divinely appointed. The quietness of your faith allows God to perform miracles, turning the unseen into the visible and making His glory known. This divine secret is no ordinary gift. It is not just knowledge or information, it is the very core of your calling and purpose. It holds the blueprint of what you were created to accomplish in this world. Choosing to safeguard this secret is an act of profound responsibility, not only for your own protection but for the fulfillment of God's plan in your life. Guard it with wisdom, understanding, and faith, knowing that silence is not simply the absence of speech, but a powerful act of preparation, protection, and alignment with God's divine will.
Remember, the more we respect the sacred trust placed in us, the more we align ourselves with the fullness of God's purpose. Silence, when chosen wisely, becomes more than just an act of withholding. It becomes a spiritual strategy that keeps us aligned with God's guidance and allows His plans to unfold in their perfect time.
Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." This verse highlights the profound truth that timing is crucial to the fulfillment of God's plan. Revealing something prematurely can disrupt its purpose, just as withholding it can delay its manifestation. Have you taken the time to discern the divine timing for the treasures God has placed in your heart? The Bible is filled with examples of individuals who trusted God's timing and guarded what was sacred until the right moment. Consider Mary, the mother of Jesus. After the angel Gabriel revealed her divine purpose, she didn't rush to share it with the world. Instead, she pondered these things in her heart. Luke 2:19. Her silence was not born of fear, but of wisdom and faith in God's timing. She understood that the unfolding of God's plan would happen in His perfect way. How might your journey transform if you approached your divine secret with the same quiet confidence? The act of guarding what is sacred, while trusting in God's timing, reflects a deep faith that God will reveal everything at the right moment. When God gives you a sacred mission, He also gives you the responsibility to safeguard it. His trust in you is a reflection of your worthiness in His eyes. Protecting something so precious requires not just silence, but unwavering faith. When you resist the urge to reveal your secret prematurely, you make a powerful declaration. Your trust in God's plan is greater than your need for external validation or immediate understanding. You create a sacred space where His plans can flourish, even when the full picture is yet to be seen. Do you trust God enough to hold on to the unknown, knowing He will reveal it when the time is right? By keeping your secret, you align yourself with His divine purpose. You become a vessel ready to carry out His will in due time. In doing so, you pave the way for miracles to manifest in ways beyond your imagination. Your secret, guarded with reverence and trust, becomes a shield and a testament to the greatness of the God you serve.